Welcome back to YouTube. This is DEADENDER here, and today's video is going to be why I did not like Hello Neighbor 2. So, I want to go over why this is a garbage game, and I will stand by that fact. I think this is probably up there with one of the worst games I've played so far, in the idea of, like, it's the worst game in the sense of big name game being really garbage. I don't want to explain why. First off, I want to talk about price. This game is $40 and I beat it in, I'm not joking here, 4.5 hours. That is a joke. A game being beaten in 4.5 hours is a complete and utter joke. A game costing $40 being beaten in 4.5 hours is a joke. That is $10 an hour. And I did not even feel like I got a lick of... If I actually spent $40 on this, I got it on Game Pass, so it was free. This was a joke. This was a complete joke. It was completely a joke. Because I did not feel like I got any value out of that money I would have spent. And the reason why is this. Let's go over act by act. Act 1. The guy got stuck in the door the entire act. It was essentially free roam. So first off, we can talk about that right there. The AI in this game can either be a mix of completely retarded or really, like, glued to your back. So, there's no middle ground. This AI is either completely oblivious to everything or it is right on your back. Also, when I rant about the AI in this game is so very obviously basic as... This AI, quite literally, has the most basic programming. It patrols a very set path, it walks the same durations. If it sees you, it chases you until it cannot either reach you, or you escape, or it catches you. Besides that, it reacts to nothing. Not sound, it doesn't seem to react to sound, it does not seem to react to objects being moved. It does not seem to react to anything, really. So, quite literally, this AI is so basic in design. That brings us into Act 2. Act 2, I discovered a very simple and stupid stuff, which is, if you go to the top of your radio tower and chuck an item, for example, the camera that you got in day 1, you can never get that camera back for the rest of the game. Quite literally, I threw the controls of the camera at day 1. Actually, day 2, at the end of day 2. And I never was able to get it back. Secondly, the puzzles in this game are not very good. Because they're like the idea of a very crowded house, but only you need to, like, pay attention to the small details. Which I'm not opposed to puzzles where you have to pay attention to the small details. I am opposed to, though, of puzzles that are like, pay attention to the small details while this AI is glued to your back. Also, wow. There's like a million things everywhere. This is like a hoarder's house. They're like, well, pay attention to the small details while there's like stuff just everywhere. And there's no consistency. So your eyes will glaze over something important, but pay attention to something that ain't important that's right next to it, and the 50 other things are right next to it that have no importance. Act 2. Actually, no, Act 3, because we're on Act 3 now. Also, I'm not going to talk about the Salem museums. They're the most basic and boring shit in the world. The only thing that's interesting over literally the course of the entire Salem museums was quite literally me figuring out that I could basically wedge a door shut with the camera because it sticks. And that's about it. Everything else was quite boring. Act 3, the guy with the gun. Oh boy, this was pathetic. Quite literally, this guy could take his gun, shove it down your throat, and somehow miss. So his AI, when it comes to his aim, is god-awful. He cannot hit you. If you're moving, this guy cannot hit you. And essentially because the only weapon he has to actually catch you is his gun. Again, this is back to the idea of this is essentially free roam. Yes, you can run into him, but that's like saying, That's like saying this trap is good because you can step on it yourself. Like that's not how that works. Essentially, literally, with this also with Act 3, you can skip the entire act. Just look up a tutorial to what the safe code is. Go grab the shovel, open up the safe, bang, bang, boom. That even if I had that episode, which I didn't because I accidentally deleted the footage, that episode would have been literally about 2 minutes long because I literally just skipped the entire act. Act 4, the mansion. This was quite annoying because the reason this was so annoying is it's a very big mansion, no real idea what you're supposed to be doing. Also, a key opponent is quite literally in the very corner under a pair of stairs. Good luck ever finding this. I literally, anytime I get stuck in this game, I like to walk through. I had no patience to actually beat this game by figuring out the puzzles because the puzzles in this game are the most random in the world. But going on with that, the other problems with this were, I don't know, because here's the problem with another game with these puzzles and why they're such a big deal. The idea is like, oh well, the idea is, well, you're supposed to do a couple other things and then get this knife and then use the knife to cut a rope and then la-di-da-di-da. The issue is that you have to do all the puzzles, but the game lets you keep the items from the other days. So, and because the game reuses items, you'll have a knife from like day 2, you'll cut the rope early, and then you'll be like, well, what am I supposed to do now? The puzzles are supposed to be designed to be beaten in order, but because the order can be broken, there's essentially no order in the puzzles. Now, that's just my opinion. I don't even know if there is actually order in these puzzles. They're still quite garbage. The other problem with the museum, 2 other problems with the museum. Number 1, a battery that you need can sometimes be there, sometimes not. Why this is an issue is, if you don't find it the first time around, you'll never look at it the second time around. So, that was another flaw that I actually had to look up a tutorial for because I couldn't even figure out what I was supposed to do. The second puzzle is with the music room itself, and the fact that he glitches into the table, and this apparently happens to everybody that plays the game. That is a joke. I mean, this is a consistent bug. Every single thing I've ever found with this, when it comes to tutorials, has this bug. So, I think it's just attended, I guess. I don't even know how it's not. Second, the last chapter, Chapter 5, Salem Museum. By the way, there's a grand total of 6 locations the entire game. And in reality, if you actually just memorized all these locations in your head, you could beat this entire game in like less than an hour. And that's not even with bugs. Without bugs, you could beat this game probably not even an hour, probably 20 minutes. Not even. Continuing on, Salem's Museum. This was a very frustrating level. The first part is not that bad, getting up into the attic, saving the kid. The first puzzle was a bit confusing, but not half bad. Getting the crowbar off the neighbor's back, however, is god-awful. I quite literally smashed my head against this puzzle for about 15 minutes, because sometimes, the second you would grab it, he would just spin around and get you. It'd be like, he'd be sitting there, you'd crouch up, grab it, and it would just be like, bang, immediately. So that's a bit annoying, but besides that, the rest of the puzzles in there weren't half bad. They were still like the usual bad of Hello Neighbor, of course. Also, I forgot completely to mention this until I mentioned that, was the crouching in this game is ridiculous. It seems like when you crouch, you just become undetectable. It's very odd. But I want to talk about the ending. The ending is the biggest, just the biggest boring, most cliche ending there could have been in this idea. It's like, the ending was designed with a sequel in mind, completely, because it just ends off on a cliffhanger. And then it's like, before you even think the game's over, it's just like, you did it. Credit scroll. I was thinking about playing the DLCs, and then I saw that there were $15 a piece. I want to put perspective with this, right? You have a game, that can be beaten in 4.5 hours has 3 stars. You have free DLCs that cost $5 more than the game. So if you bought everything in this game, it would be $85. Every DLC is 2 stars or less. They can play about being broken, unplayable, whatever. So, I'm going to mention what you can do with those $85. You can play a game, which is called Resident Evil Village. It will cost you about $60, and it has, I'm not joking around, about 5 to 6 times the playtime. Not only that, with that other $45, you could buy Resident Evil Village, or Resident Evil 7, and all its DLCs, and it would be, not joking around, because I actually 100%ed the entire game, Resident Evil 7, with all its DLCs, is about 20 to 45 hours of gameplay. Which sounds more appropriate. The cartoon graphics are interesting, but it is overall, this game is a joke. This game is a joke. It's not worth your money. I won't even say it's worth your time. I did not have fun playing this game. I quite literally beat this game because I kinda had to. I've never replayed this game. The only reason I'd ever replayed this game is because to prove that you could speedrun it very quickly. And that is absolutely it. That's going to be the end of this Why I Did Not Like Hello Neighbor 2. Here, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell down below to know if I'm going to upload a new video. Subscribe, like what you see. Peace out.